Going. Okay, this will be chapter 3, and the first thing I want to talk about is areas of the field. And I do this so I can understand it and so I can talk to my other coaches about understanding it. And we do these areas of the field. The defense has to defense all of these different areas. And if we're running 44 or 34, we don't care what they're in out here, out here, out here, out here, out here. All we're concerned about is the defense in area 1. Now, that is the case unless now here they would have 7 guys in the box, 8, 9, 10, 11. And so they're defensing, they've got 7 guys that are defensing this area. They got 1 guy that's defensing both of these areas, and 1 guy that's defensing maybe both of these, and then they got 2 safeties, and I realize this guy's going to overlap out here and so on. But we don't really care if we're running the box what they're doing unless they're bringing a guy down in here like this. And what they're trying to do is strengthen area 1. Well, by strengthening area 1, they weaken themselves in these areas. And if we're attacking area 2, we really don't care what they're doing in here in area 1. We don't care if they're stunning or if they've got the line slid strong or slid weak, or if they've got an 8-man front in here or whatever. The only time we're concerned about this is for pass protection, of course. But if we're attacking area 3, we really don't care a lot of times what they've got in area 2. If we're attacking this area, we certainly don't care what they've got here. We want to attack areas where that they are weak. Okay, I'm going to go into a couple more things with this. This is kind of area of the field type of things. And our formations and shifts and motion enable us to put more people into certain areas. All right. Now, there are basically 2 kinds of 7-man fronts. And I'm going to put this up here like this. The first one is some form of a 4-3. Some form of a 4-3. That takes 7 guys. That leaves 4 guys to defense the field out here. All right, now in these 4 guys, they could be in cover 2, where these corners are more protecting this area, and these guys are more protecting out in here. Or, and when we look at this right here, if we can hold this guy low and get somebody into here like this, now we can run a high-low on this guy, and this guy can't really defend it very well, and so we can offense this area of the field. Now, the other thing they can do with a 7-man front is play a cover 4. Now here, okay, now here we call it cover 4 because, well, that first one was cover 2. And there were 2 deep safeties. In cover 4, there are 4 guys playing deep. Now, they're weak out in this area here, unless this guy is going to help cover out there. And if he helps cover out there, then it weakens their box and so on. But it's important that you are able to think in terms of that. Okay, now a defense that you're going to see, and well, a 7-man front can be a 4-3 type of thing, or it can be a 5-2 type of thing. But in each of those cases, there's 7 people. And in our particular offense here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys to block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if they're in the 7-man front, we think that we got an excellent chance to be successful in what we do. Okay, so you've got a 4-3 or a 5-2 type of thing on that. Now, 8-man fronts, what they do is they get into 8 people in here kind of defense in the box. But in 8-man front defenses, now they've used 8 people here, so they've only got 3 left. And this would be what would be referred to probably as a cover 3. And there are 3 deep people. Now there's really 2 types of 8-man front defenses. And what they are is the 4-4, and the other one is the 5-3 type of concept. But now they've got an extra guy in here. And in this particular case right here, this is where we may want to bring an extra guy in here so we can block this edge, or we may want to bring an extra guy in here. And you know, they're going to do something like this, but this guy is not really a box type of defender, and if he is sticking his nose in here, then we can get out in there. Then what we have is, so what I've shown you is a 7-man front versus our 7. All right, and then we've got an 8-man front versus our 7. An 8-man front is a little more weak out here, so you may want to run a little bit more of the play action, but you still want to run your basic stuff. But also, we have a heavy run defense package. And the way that works is, the first thing, let's look at what we call a flat 4. Now, on the flat 4, in essence, this guy here is kind of locked up on this guy, and this guy is kind of locked up on this guy. And what happens is, now they've got a 7, I'm going to go back to a 5-2 thing. They've got a 7-man front here, but the reason we call this a flat 4 is they are reading usually the number 2 receiver, and the number 2 receiver might be this guy on one side and this guy on the other side. And if this guy blocks, this guy will come right up in a hurry. And if this guy would happen to block, he comes right up in a hurry. So in essence, instead of having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-man front, they have actually a 9-man box defense there, because these guys are primarily running in here. Now, if this guy released, then they're going to have more of a tendency to play back here. But this is still a defense. The flat 4 is something that I think you're probably gonna run into. All right, the next one is cover one. And with one, they have one deep safety. And now these guys do lock up man to man. And this guy locks up man to man on him, and maybe this guy locks up man to man on him. But now, if we down block in here like this, it brings this guy right down, and now they are able to get into an 8 or maybe even a 9-man, well, depending on if they're doing this now. It's a heavy type of run thing. We also have the zero coverage. Now, zero is where there are no free safeties, and this guy is playing down into the box here like this, and so now they have two guys that are covering these guys by pass. He's reading him, but now they get an extra guy, and so really, if these guys are covering outside and covering there, they got 9 guys now that in one way or another are playing down into the box. As an offensive strategist, you've got to understand a little bit about this, and that you're going to have to deal with it. Now, my thought is that if we're good at running the power, we can run the power versus anything. And when I get into the plays, I'm going to also talk to you about our goal line offense, which our basic goal line offense is 44 and 34 and 134, and the play action. Get back in here like this. Okay, go ahead and turn it off, Dave.